There's a post office in Sacramento I won't go near after dark. I don't care how important the package is. I don't care if a buyer is waiting. And I definitely don't go there close to closing time. It started last winter. I sell vintage dolls on eBay, and that evening I had a package that needed to go out. The buyer had already paid. The shipping label was printed, and the box had been sitting by my front door all day. I kept putting it off. By the time I checked the clock, it was 5:50. The post office closed at 6. I should have waited until morning. Instead, I grabbed the box and drove over. The post office was in one of those long strip malls you see everywhere in Sacramento. A laundromat, a nail salon, a Dollar Tree, a Mexican restaurant, a pharmacy. During the day, the parking lot was always busy. At night, it felt completely different. There were still lights on, but huge sections of the parking lot were empty and dark. The pavement was wet from rain, and the storefront signs reflected off the asphalt. I parked a couple of rows away and hurried inside. There was only one employee working. She scanned my prepaid label, handed me a receipt, and I walked back outside just after 6. Behind me, I heard the door lock, and suddenly the whole place felt quiet. I started walking toward my car. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. At first, I didn't think much of it, that someone else could have left one of the stores. But when I slowed down, the footsteps slowed down too. I stopped beside a white pickup and pretended to check my phone. The footsteps stopped. I looked at the reflection in my dark phone screen. There was someone standing behind me, maybe 30 feet away. Tall, dark jacket, hood up. He wasn't walking anymore. He was just standing there, watching me. I told myself not to panic. Maybe he was waiting for someone. Maybe he wasn't even looking at me. I started walking again. My car was one row away. I unlocked it. The lights flashed, and behind me I heard a man's voice. "Miss?" I kept walking. "Excuse me, miss." His voice was calm, almost polite, and he said, "You dropped something." I looked down automatically. Phone, keys, purse. I hadn't dropped anything. I got into my car, locked the doors, and started the engine. When I looked up, the man was standing in front of my car, not close enough to block me, just standing there. His hands were in his pockets. I still couldn't see his face under the hood. I backed out and drove toward the exit. He didn't follow. But when I looked in the mirror one last time, he slowly raised one arm and pointed at my car. I told my husband what happened when I got home. He said exactly what I already knew. Don't go there alone at night again. So I didn't. 2 days later, I sold another doll. This time I drove to a completely different post office. Middle of the afternoon. Busy shopping center. Plenty of people around. I mailed the package and walked back to my car. That's when I noticed a piece of white paper under my windshield wiper. I assumed it was an advertisement. It wasn't. It was my receipt from the first post office. The one I thought I had put in my pocket. The date was there. The time. The tracking number. And underneath it, someone had written, "You didn't let me finish." I just stood there staring at it. Maybe I dropped the receipt in the parking lot that night. Maybe the man had picked it up. That part was possible. But this was a different post office, miles away. How did he know which car was mine? Over the next few days, I started noticing an old dark sedan. The first time, it was parked across from our house. The next day, I saw it near a grocery store. Then I saw it again when I stopped for milk. Dark windows, dented front bumper. It was parked several spaces away from me. I sat in my car and waited. A minute later, its engine started. The sedan slowly drove past me and left. That evening, I got a message on eBay. Brand new account. No purchases, no feedback. The message said, "You forgot your receipt." I blocked the account. An hour later, another new account messaged me. "Don't park so far away." That was when I realized something. My return address was printed on every shipping label. My home address. The next day, my husband and I went back to the original post office. We asked about security cameras. The manager told us we'd need to file a police report. As we were leaving, a woman from the laundromat saw us standing in the parking lot. She asked if something had happened. I told her someone had followed me after the post office closed. Her expression changed. Was it at night? Yes. She looked across the parking lot. Then she said, "Don't come here after closing." My husband asked why. She told us that a few months earlier, a food delivery driver had disappeared from that parking lot. Security footage showed him leaving the Mexican restaurant with an order. He started walking toward his car. Then he stopped, like someone had called to him. He turned away from his car and walked toward the far end of the parking lot. That was the last time anyone saw him. His car was still there, unlocked. His keys were inside. His phone was found on the ground. Then the woman said something that made my stomach drop. "People around here have seen someone in the parking lot." "What kind of someone?" She shrugged. "That's the strange part. Everyone describes them differently. A man, a woman, an old person." Then she looked directly at me. "But they always say the same thing." I already knew what she was going to say. She lowered her voice. "They tell you that you dropped something." That night, something slid under our front door. My husband and I found a folded piece of paper on the floor. 4 words were written inside. "You left again." We called the police. The officer took a report and told us to install a camera. When I told him which shopping center this had started at, he stopped writing. "Southland Park?" "Yes." He looked at me for a second. Then he said, "Don't go there alone after dark." After that, I stopped selling on eBay for a while. I barely left the house. 4 days later, I received a USPS notification. A package had been delivered. I wasn't expecting anything. There was a small brown box outside my door. My name was listed as the recipient, but it was also listed as the sender. My address was in both fields. We called the post office. According to the tracking number, the package had been accepted at the same post office where all of this started. My husband opened it in the garage. Inside was an old iPhone with a cracked screen. We charged it. The lock screen showed a young man smiling at the camera, holding a bag of takeout food. I knew who he was. The missing delivery driver. There was one old notification still visible on the screen. A text from a contact saved as "Mom. Please call me back." We called the police again. This time 2 officers came. They took the phone and the box. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 3 days later, I went back to the shopping center. I know how stupid that sounds, but I hadn't slept properly in days. I needed to see the place again. I told myself I wouldn't even get out of the car. It was getting dark when I got there. The post office had just closed. I parked near the exit and watched the post office. A young woman walked up carrying a box. She tried the door. Locked. Then I saw someone approach her. Dark jacket, hood up. I hadn't seen where he came from. 1 second she was alone. The next, he was standing beside her. He said something. Then he pointed toward the parking lot. He looked in the direction he was pointing. I knew exactly what was happening. I opened my car door. "Don't go with him." The woman turned toward me. "Get in your car." She ran. The hooded figure didn't chase her. He just stood there. Then he raised his arm and pointed at me, exactly like he had the first night. I jumped back into my car and drove. The woman pulled out behind me, and then I saw the dark sedan, the one with the dented bumper. It came out of the parking lot behind her. I called 911. We stayed together for several blocks. Then I made it through a yellow light. She didn't. She stopped at the red. The sedan stopped behind her. I watched in my mirror. The driver's door of the sedan opened. A hooded figure got out. He walked toward her car. I was screaming into the phone, telling the dispatcher what was happening. The figure stopped beside the woman's window. He leaned down. The light turned green. Her car didn't move. People started honking. I turned around at the first place I could. By the time I got back to the intersection, several cars had stopped. People were standing in the road. The woman's car was still there. Engine running, doors closed. Her package was sitting on the passenger seat, but she was gone. Police searched the area. Nothing. A nearby gas station had a security camera pointed toward the intersection. Later, one of the officers told me what it showed. The woman was visible behind the wheel. A dark figure approached the driver's window. For a second, the footage distorted. Just static. Then the image came back. The driver's seat was empty. The door never opened. The window never broke. She was just gone. Her name was Emily. She was 23. She worked at a beauty salon and had been mailing a package to her sister in Oregon. Weeks later, they found her in Oregon, hundreds of miles from Sacramento. Police never explained how she got there. After that, I stopped going anywhere alone at night. I check the back seat before I get into my car. I never park far from store entrances, and if I hear footsteps behind me, I don't stop. Sometimes I still see that dark sedan at intersections, near gas stations, in store windows, old, dark, dented front bumper. My husband says I'm imagining it. Maybe I am. But last winter I stopped at a 24-hour pharmacy. When I came back outside, there was a small piece of white paper under my windshield wiper. I knew what it was before I even touched it. There were only 4 words written on it. This time, park closer. If you've made it this far, you're ready for the next story. It's already waiting on the channel.